Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Wednesday, it's midweek, it's Valentine's. I hope you're all having a fantastic evening with your partners. If you don't, you can join me here. I will bring the pro wrestling romance to your guys' lives. It is Pro Wrestling Weekly, the weekly show we do on the upper tier related to pro wrestling, where we talk about all the latest wrestling news. We bring you on the road to all the premium live events and we discuss all the latest news out there. If you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and drop a like on the video, we will be forever grateful as we continue to grow the channel, up the watch hours, and all that kind of good stuff. We've got a great show for you tonight. Some interesting stuff going on at the moment. We'll talk about the fallout from the kickoff press conference. We'll talk about the women's. We'll talk about the road, I should say, to the Elimination Chamber. Got a lot of roads going on at the moment. The main motorway road, of course, is the road to WrestleMania, but we've got a lot of roads off that as well, heading to Perth in Australia next week for the Elimination Chamber. Shaping up to be a good event. Should be a huge spectacle. Unbelievable stadium down there where they're hosting it. Still a lot to be decided on the road to Perth, but we will see what way it washes out, especially on SmackDown this week. We have a number of qualifying matches continuing over the next number of days, and we will talk about those things as well. As always, we'll jump into the chat first to the OGs that are there. Sean is there. Howdy, big lad. Hope you're well. I'm away, so probably won't be able to pop in. So have a great stream, and Valentine's. Hope she was good to you. Absolutely, Sean. Appreciate that, my friend. As always, hope you're having a good week. Eno's in as well. Big up, Eno. How you doing, folks? What's the crack, Niall? It's all good, my friend. All good. And Daz is in. What's the crack, Niall? All good as well. And Ian, happy Valentine's, everyone. You are beautiful. What you want to talk about, folks? We can talk about anything you want. As we know on this show, I just put the kind of loose ballpark kind of narrative out there, and then you guys in the chat are supposed to lead the conversation, ask me whatever you want pro wrestling related. But we're going to talk about a few things, but we'll start as always, and we'll have our little bit of history later on as well. And we'll talk about the some interesting history that came up this week as well, and some interesting birthdays. Not a lot of notable birthdays this week, but some. We're going to be talking, of course, continuing to talk about the Vince allegations. That stuff that came out, the affidavit from Ashley Mazzaro is absolutely heart-wrenching and heartbreaking as well. I got to meet the girl back at WrestleCon, I think either 2018 or 2019 it would have been. And absolutely heartbreaking, but we'll get into that as well. Just let me get through some stuff first. Got to get through some stuff, mate, because it is Valentine's, so the missus is expecting me to be off within the hour, as always in my Valentine's. And my main man is in. Baz, how are you, my friend? Evening, bro. What's the crack? All good. So let's start with this road to Perth, the Elimination Chamber. So we have already out there, of course, we have a tag match. Damian Priest, Finn Balor representing the Judgment Day versus Pete Dunne, of course, and Tyler Bates. Sure to be absolutely brilliant. Really looking forward to that match. For really good wrestlers, and that really looking forward to it. Also looking forward to Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. Should be a powerhouse of a match. Fingers crossed Rhea comes out not injured. Just saying, not tempting fate, touch wood, and everything else here that's wood, touch it now, and even where you guys are, touch it as well. But we know what's happened in the past, and history does repeat itself, so hopefully that will be all good. I thought Rhea was brilliant last week at the kickoff and stuff like that, so pretty cool. We've had qualifiers for the men's one, so already in there, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, and L.A. Knight, have all qualified for the men's elimination chamber. 2 spots still to go. Who fills those 2 spots? Who's going into the men's elimination chamber? Talk of Logan Paul. Does Bronson Reed get a look in? The Aussie boy, or is he going to have hard? Who knows what's going to happen there? We got the women's one as well, which is kind of falling a little bit behind, but there is 2 qualifying matches coming up on SmackDown as far as I know. But the rumor out there at the moment is that Liv Morgan, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, and Jade Cargill are going to make up the last 4 spots on that women's elimination chamber, with Becky already in there. Becky talking big time. Bex is back. She was talking at the kickoff press conference there last Thursday, how she's going to go in there and get the job done. Bianca Belair had different thoughts on that as well. As Bianca Belair going to go in there into WrestleMania and create history? She's had an unbelievable 3 WrestleManias so far. Can she top it off with a 4th? She was talking big as well and doing really well. And I have to say, at the moment, the 2 things I'm watching at the minute, I'm watching Big Little Brawlers, the Micro Wrestling Federation, which is absolutely excellent. Really, really, really enjoying that. We're down to, I think, there's probably 1 episode left, which is going to cover Microfest, which is their WrestleMania, if you like, and stuff like that. But I'm really enjoying it. Love the characters, love the dedication. And I'm enjoying some of the wrestling as well. The only negative thing about it, I'd wish they'd show more wrestling on it, because, boy, these people can go and they can wrestle. Really enjoying it. The other thing I'm watching at the moment is Bianca and Montez. I don't know if you've been watching this. Normally, a lot of people turn around and they go, not too sure about these shows. The one thing I'm taking out of it is it's a hectic lifestyle for them and stuff like that. But it shows the dedication of being on that road to WrestleMania and working hard all year to get that spot. And really cement that position of getting a match on a WrestleMania card, and what it means to these different guys and girls and how important it is to their careers and stuff like that. So I like watching those shows from that point of view as well. So really, really cool. And even to the point, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Bianca even putting on hold having a child in her life because she wants to focus on her career and how important it is for her at that stage in her career. So I'm watching those 2 at the moment, and they're interesting. Let's take some of the comments. Where are we going to start? Did you hear about Mania Night, both nights, Seth and Roman? I heard a rumor going around about that. I don't think that's going to be the case, but we are going to talk tonight about Seth Rollins and that promo that he pulled on Raw with Cody Rhodes, and how he mentioned the Shield and the Architect and all those different things. Let us know in the chat. Do you believe him? Do you believe this man that he's going to stand behind Cody Rhodes and he's going to help him? History will tell you that is not the case. Just ask his Shield brothers, and they will tell you that Seth Rollins is all about Seth Rollins. But let's see what happens, and let's see your thoughts on this. It's amazing how they've pulled it together, isn't it, in terms of such cool stuff going on at the moment. And we gotta pull up the graphic for this, because to do it justice. Sean's in. Much respect to WWE for putting the chamber on at 5 a.m. in the States this year. Serves them right. Well, listen, it's about time, isn't it, that we got a fair old crack on a couple of these European ones. Backlash is going to be in France, and we got the Bash in Berlin as well. So, look, it's about time we don't have to stay up all night. Let's balance that out around the world, and I think that's what their plan will be. So, absolutely. Daniel's in. Daniel, big up for joining us tonight. The accidentally leaked graphic that already showed who the competitors in the women's chamber were going to be. Yeah, look, it's just... Are we surprised? Are we surprised? What time will Chamber start at in the UK? Well, if it's Aussie time, I don't know. What were they saying? Were they saying 5 p.m. or something like that? Is that what I heard? 5 p.m. or something like that? 10. Oh, it's 10 in the 10 in the morning, isn't it? 10 in the morning, yeah, because people were talking about breakfast, as far as I know, Daniel, isn't it? It's 10 in the morning, yeah, that's mad. Dennis is in. Big up, Dennis. Thanks for joining us tonight. There's lots talk about replacing Jade Cargill for the women's chamber match with the winner of the Battle Royal and Monday Night Raw. Interesting. That should be interesting, all right. And Sean's in at that 10 a.m. razzle dazzle. There you go. You can sit up, you can have your breakfast, you can enjoy it while you're watching and stuff like that. What a pleasure that's going to be. Cody Rhodes will be, I'll be in the shop, of course. So if anyone wants to join me in the shop, we'll be open at 10 a.m. that day, and we'll be having breakfast, and we will have the chamber on. Cody Rhodes, Acer's in. Cody Rhodes won't be leaving WrestleMania 40 as champion. Seth Rollins will cost him WWE Championship. That's my thinking on it as well, Acers. This is too smoozy to be real, isn't it? It's too smoozy. And we know this guy. This guy will stab you in the back in a second. I wonder. I wonder, is he coming to the realization that he's gonna drop the world heavyweight belt? Um, Obviously talking about the men's chamber in there and the men who have qualified so far, but it looks like for me it has to be Drew McIntyre, doesn't it? Has to be Drew McIntyre. He's absolutely electric on socials at the moment. He is having a go off everyone. He even had a go the other day off the guy off Rick and the Walking Dead and everything and all. This guy is going out there 101. Has to be Drew McIntyre. And if Drew McIntyre goes into Mania, he has to take that world heavyweight belt off Seth, doesn't he? Let us know your thoughts on that one as well. Um, Recovering from a horrible dose. Recovering from a horrible dose. F. Cody. There you go. Acers 10 a.m. Daniel's back in again. Yes, because it's 5 a.m. Eastern. UK's 5 hours ahead of that. Yeah, spot on. I shouldn't know my times, shouldn't I? The amount of times I've been in the States, I should know. I might ask a Jamie to chamber Niall or hide his other channel. Oh yeah, do like a. I might ask Jamie. Watch along, is it? Is that it? That's thinking of doing a watch along, is it? Ready for that hot tag, brother? Yeah, just give me time. Give me time. I gotta get off for the woman. Don't forget. Daz Morris, are you live tonight? No, Daz, have 3 lives this week already, pal. Yeah, absolutely knocking it out of the park. Make sure you're checking out Morris's channel. Some great stuff going up there at the moment. Dominic Sabozloy and Trent missing Carabao Cup final. Don't have to worry about that tonight, Acers. You're on the wrong show. Double swerve. Rollins attacks Cody. Rock turns on Reigns. 50-50 shot. Cody capitalizes on it. Dethrones Reigns. If not, he challenges Rollins for the offense. So much to this, isn't it? Like when you think about what they're putting out there at the moment, like we're still, what are we now? Kind of 2 weeks down the road on this and coming up to a week since the, say 2 weeks since the announcement where they were taking Cody over and putting Rock in, seeing all the reaction to that and the millions and millions of dislikes and all this stuff that was going on. Then they had the press conference, the slap heard from hell. We also had a course where am I gotta bring this graphic up as well. This press conference was unbelievable, wasn't it? I did a little review of it there. You've seen it on the channel there. Thank you very much for the views and all that kind of stuff. But we got that cool handshake. I'm not sure if that was tipping the hat to Carl Weathers, who sadly passed away from Predator. Of course, the handshake that we seen there. But then we seen The Rock step up and slap the chops off Cody Rhodes for disrespecting the family. Disrespecting the family. Then we seen the backstage stuff with Triple H. It got very heated. But what did you make of? What did you make when you look at what happened there, and then you also look at this? Who is the head of the table, and what way is it going to go? And if they're not careful in the way they do this, is Roman Reigns in danger of becoming Solo or Jimmy Uso in this whole situation and stuff like that? So they're gonna have to be very careful the way they do it. We know both boys are on SmackDown this Friday. Has there ever been a time, probably since the Attitude Era and some aspects of the Ruthless Aggression Era, where we've looked so much forward to the next episode of Raw or the next episode of SmackDown or whatever it is? Kind of feels like, you can't miss it, that you want to know what's going to happen and stuff like that. And that's because they're just leaving us hanging all the time. More and more questions and less answers. And everyone is out there trying to figure out what's going on, including all the dirt sheets and everyone that's out there trying to wrap their head around this. And they are giving nothing away. Nothing. Acers, Damian Priest will be WWE Championship after Cody Rhodes wins the title. I don't know. Can you imagine? Listen, imagine the uproar out of that, Acers. Look at the uproar we got when The Rock inserted himself into the match and took Cody out. Can you imagine the uproar if Damian Priest cashes in on him? Good Lord. Watch along, Daz. Yeah, that's what I thought you were thinking. Yeah, watch along. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, absolutely. Acers, good card tonight. Yeah, decent. And we will actually, folks, we haven't been focusing enough on AEW, so we will get back focusing a bit on AEW next week. I want to look in depth, do a bit of work this week on that road to Sting's last match and give my thoughts on it and stuff like that. So we will bring a bit of AEW to the show next week and stuff like that, and let us know your thoughts on that. Niall, you coming to ACDC? I certainly am going to ACDC if I'm one of the lucky ones to get a ticket. It looks like these tickets are going to be like gold dust, but the plan is definitely to go, Morris. So hit me up later, hit me up tomorrow. Let me know what the plans are. I'm going with Ben, but let me know if you're getting floor or seated or what you're doing, stuff like that. And we will certainly have a few drinks, and we will certainly give the boys, probably going to be their last one. Did you hear the rumors as well, Morris, that they might be headlining Electric Picnic on the Sunday, which is the day after Croker, as far as I know? Let me know your thoughts on that as well. But AC/DC Thunderstruck, what a song. What a song. Love AC/DC. Carl Weathers, a boxing golf instructor that had to get to the chopper. Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. Unbelievable. Aces, Rock will always head of the family. Yeah, absolutely. But I just wonder, does Roman realize what's going on here? Because if you look, Roman seems to be taking the back seat, and Rock seems to be stepping up. And I'm wondering, like, we're getting this Rock character now at the moment. Vince has exited the building, obviously. So is Rock this new Vince character, not with all that other stuff, of course, but on-screen character at a boardroom level? And are we going to get a lot of vignettes coming up now where they're pre-recorded? We won't know they're pre-recorded, but Rock kind of in his office or in his boardroom and stuff like that. And then is this an opportunity? A lot of talk about Reigns potentially being turned face. Are we going to get this Rock versus Reigns kind of Vince versus Austin kind of situation, which would be really cool if it kind of went that way? Let's see what Rock's plans are. Is he going to hang around? Is he going to be heavily involved post-Mania? Let's see what happens. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Press conference was mad. UFC could never. Yeah, it was just crazy, wasn't it? Just uproar. And it was like Seth and all, just because you're sitting on the board, you don't get the side things around here and all. Seth was electric, and it was funny because like Seth was kind of over there out on the wing, not really getting involved, but he's obviously there for a reason, and it's not because of promoting the world heavyweight belt. He was there because they wanted to inject him into this situation. So let's see how this goes, but certainly very, very, very interesting. Difficult to see how the landscape is going to move in terms of Cody and all this kind of stuff and all, but I wouldn't be turning my back on Seth, that's for sure. Dennis is in. I could see The Rock transform himself into Hollywood Rock up until WrestleMania just to annoy the Cody crybabies. What did we make of that interview, that the Pat McAfee podcast? The Cody crybabies. That has a T-shirt written all over it. Doesn't it? The Cody crybabies. The Cody goals. I tell you, hoping for standing. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'll take anything. Whatever tickets flash up, I'm grabbing them. I don't care if it's back row. WWE is trying to work the dirt sheets and misdirect them, while AEW is still feeding Meltzer info and telling insider jokes on TV booking for an audience of one. Yeah, nice summary, Daniel. Nice summary. I like that. It's mad, isn't it? But they have. Isn't it amazing in the space of 2, maybe 3 weeks? Even the dirt sheets don't know what's going on. They've absolutely turned it on its head. It's amazing. Pearl Jam playing in Marley in June 22nd. Yeah, I see they're playing the Tottenham Stadium as well, aren't they? Spurs Stadium. I seen that the other day, popped up. My main man's in. Grahamo, how are you? Priest had the briefcase. How way too long now. Not worth keeping if he cashes in for the US title. He won't cash in for the US title. That devalues the money in the bank. Daniel, if Punk hadn't got hurt, they could have done Reigns versus Punk for Mania. Heyman turns on Reigns with a low blow. Punk hits the GTS. Reigns instantly gets babyface sympathy. Paul Heyman guy. Phil Brooks, our CM Punk, a Paul Heyman guy. How good was CM Punk as well at the press conference at the end with Rock on the stage with no mic, and he was turning around and all this kind of stuff. Like, if he had to punch me, I would have punched him in the face and all this kind of thing. Kind of a little jibe at AEW, but also perfect timing as only CM Punk can do. brilliant, directed at The Rock. Acers, Judgment Day will be losing title at WrestleMania Night 2, so Damian Priest will be annoyed. They will cash in after Seth Rollins beat down on Cody Rhodes. I don't know, the way they're building this up at the moment and the work that they've put into it and everything else that they're doing, if this kind of ends with a Damian Priest cash in, I'm going to be really disappointed, and I think a lot of other people are too. Let's talk about Sammy. Let's move the narrative a little bit. Sammy losing out again. Big talk before this match the other night. Now losing out again. Where do they go with Sami Zayn? What happens? Does Sami Zayn need to be kind of repackaged? Does the mask need to go back on? What do they need to do with Sami Zayn? And do you see Sami Zayn in the future at any stage holding a world title? Or are we gonna forge the path that Dolph Ziggler forged to get to a world heavyweight title? Only to disappoint in the way it panned out. Let us know your thoughts on Sami Zayn. Big fan of Sami. But let us know what way you think it's going to go. Obviously, huge disappointment in the loss the other night, and not surprising based on the build up to it. What else do we want to talk about? Billy Jack. Let's talk about Billy Jack. First of all, we have to talk about, obviously, RIP to his wife, Jeanette, who we know was suffering from dementia and stuff like that. But she was shot dead in her home the other night. Billy Jack was there. He was arrested as a suspect. There was a standoff. He eventually gave himself up with a gun. Looks like he's the main suspect in it. Really, really, really sad. I have to say, I was talking to Jay Kennedy on Instagram about this. I think Instagram or WhatsApp. Jay, obviously my brother from the 4Podman days, and it was devastating news. Really, we were big fans of Billy Jack. Who would ever forget that match against Hercules at WrestleMania 3 with the chains and all and stuff like that? But this was a hard man, a hard dude and stuff like that. And it's sad when these things come to light and this is how it all ends and stuff like that. So we extend our condolences and prayers and thoughts and everything else to the extended family of Janet, I should say, Janet, who sadly passed away. And we wait and see what the outcome happens for Billy Jack. Very, very sad when these things pan out this way. So thoughts and prayers. Now, give me your thoughts on this. Let me get here we go. I'll be absolutely delighted. I hate Cody Rhodes. There was only one Rhodes. That's Dusty, baby. Dustin. Can't be hating on Goldust. Dennis is in. A wrestling insider has spoke out about Sammy's status, possibly turning heel in the future. Yeah, maybe that could work or something like that. It just feels like it needs something different, doesn't it? And it kind of feels like when it goes down this path, then all roads lead back to Kevin Owens, don't they? Because we know how good both boys are when they're together and stuff like that. But got to figure out a better solution than that, really. But yeah, give me your thoughts on this. How do you feel about this? A women's IC belt, Intercontinental belt being introduced potentially. How would you feel about that? I feel with WWE at the moment, both the women's divisions are just so stacked with talent, right down from top to bottom. And I feel with the two belts, and then you have the tag belts, which kind of through poor booking, really, they've devalued the tag belts. And we know that the Sasha Banks and the Naomi stuff and all what transpired there. But I think they need another belt in that kind of middle section, for those gals to shoot for. That there's another belt there, because the one thing they do really good in the women's divisions is they don't tend to drop the belt really quickly. They tend to give them good title reigns and long runs and stuff like that. So there's not really much for these girls to aim for, even though week on week they knock it out of the park. We've seen also Charlotte Flair today, more videos out of her doing sort of body squats on the knee, and her rehabilitation is way ahead apparently. So I can't believe she's 6 weeks from ACL surgery, and this is what she's doing, stuff like that. It just goes to show the kind of athlete that she is, that it's incredible and stuff like that. But I really do feel with the way the women's division is so stacked at the moment, it probably is now time to introduce another belt into the women's division. Um, just so that kind of, and I'm not even going to call them mid card because they're all outstanding, but just that kind of middle ground, maybe to give them something to aim for. Let us know your thoughts in the comments on this. What do you think? Um, yeah, where are we? Here we are, Daniel. Yeah, at Aces, Dustin's more like Dusty than Cody will ever be. He's a better wrestler as well. No disagreement there. Absolutely no disagreement there. More CTE, I'd say, Niall. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just heartbreaking, Morris, and it's just on and on and on. And it's just terrible. Yeah, Zayn's absolutely going heel. They're gonna do a role reversal and have him turn on Owens. Owens has went heel on Sammy numerous times, so now it's Sammy's turn. Interesting. No need for another belt. I don't know, Morris. You look at those two women. You look at the women's division in there at the moment, and like we haven't even spoken about the crop of women on NXT that could potentially come up as well. They're absolutely stuffed with talent. Like if you think about it, look at the one that Rhea's on at the moment and how long she's had the belt. You know what I mean? So it's you got to give these women something to aim for as well, and it can't constantly be just that top brass ring, you know. So I think maybe it's time for another one. Acers is garbage. Dennis at Daniel Price. Sammy deserves his chance to turn on Owens. I wouldn't hate it, to be honest. No, absolutely not. Absolutely. Well, anything that kind of gets him going again and stuff like that, because he was so brilliant with the bloodline stuff, wasn't he? Let's be honest here. It was so cool, and that wave going up to Montreal. Was it Montreal or Toronto? Montreal, I think it was, and like the reception he got and all that kind of stuff and all these. Like Sami Zayn's a fantastic talent and stuff like that, and you don't really want him getting turned off. Got the shades on and we focus on bro. Good man. They don't need more belts. That was one of their problem to begin with. Was when they started with an oversaturation of belts. The more people with shiny prizes, the less they mean. Yeah, but if you look at it, if you could do it in a way where if you could put it on someone like let's suppose someone who could bring it to like the men's intercontinental belt, that Gunter level, who's restored the prestige of that belt and stuff like that and all. Like you look at the men's division, they have the US belt, and like arguably the women's division is probably, you could argue, just as stacked, if not more stacked. And I just think they need something. I'm not talking about, it's another belt in the women's division. You know what I mean? It's not like they have a US belt and stuff like that. No, I think they just need to figure out how to book it properly and stuff like that to make it feel more meaningful, to make it feel like it's the gatekeeper belt to push on then to the world title or the WWE championship or whatever it is in the women's division. And I think that's really, really important to give those girls something to shoot for. But it has to be booked right. And I totally agree. There's no point in putting it in there just for the sake of putting a belt in there. There has to be a plan. There has to be an importance. It has to be made feel, really, really important that when someone wins this and they have to book it the right way and make it meaningful, that's my thinking on it. Anyway, Morris is in. I'd say Darren is enjoying Adam Maxted on Love Island. Yeah. Darren might only know a little bit about Adam Maxted. Darren wouldn't follow local stuff. Darren wouldn't be up to speed on OTT and stuff like that and all. So yeah, but yeah, they were just my thoughts on another belt coming in. What else have we got? I wanted to talk. That Ashley Mazzaro situation, that affidavit that came out, the stuff that the rape stuff and all that happened in Kuwait and all, and WWE shut it down and all that kind of stuff is just. It's so saddening. And we did say on last week's show when we discussed the allegations and stuff like that, we did say that this is going to open up Pandora's box basically, and this is going to go deep. It's going to get worse. before it gets any way better. And it's really concerning where it's going and stuff like that. The stuff that was shut down at that level and stuff like that. And some of the comments that came out, one bad apple and all this kind of thing and stuff like that. It was shocking on that girl who sadly in the end committed suicide, left a beautiful daughter behind her and all and stuff like this. And the stuff that she was dealing with and all, she was thrust into a position where she wasn't ready. She was very clear about that with the company, and the company didn't accept it. And some of the comments that came out are heartbreaking and strange as well. And with minimal kind of training and stuff, she was put into prominent positions and stuff like that. And we know that it can take years in terms of wrestling training to build up your body to understand the repetitive nature of wrestling, the bumping and all that kind of stuff. I know it's a very high level. It's a very level where I know about this from talking to people and stuff like that. But I can't imagine, if your body isn't conditioned to that type of thing and you're being pushed into that situation, how you would feel about it and stuff like that. So it really is heartbreaking. Lots of stuff coming out at the moment. Bret Hart was talking about it as well, and we're going to take a look at some of the stuff that Bret said. And I don't think, sometimes when we talk about Bret Hart, sometimes we talk about the bitterness he has to the business and obviously to Vince and WWE and everything that happened with Montreal and, obviously the sad passing of Owen and all that kind of stuff and all. But I don't think what he spoke about this week or last week it was on the slate, I don't think it was coming from a bitterness or even a hatred point of view. It was more a disappointing, but also a compassionate side of things for the likes of Ashley and Rita Chatterin and people like that and all, and the victims basically in this alleged situation. And let's have a look at some of the stuff that Bret said, and then we'll come back to your comments. I'm just going to go full screen this because I'll end up blind otherwise. The first comment here is basically talking about shitgate, basically. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. We don't need to go into detail, but when you get that vision in your head, you go, that's messed up. It's too sick and disgusting to really imagine. I think despite all of the issues I ever had with Vince, I know deep down I always respected him. But now, knowing what kind of weirdo he became, I have absolutely zero respect for him. I do not think I could ever shake his hand if he extended it. Too creepy. This one's interesting. He says, it's like Jeffrey Dahmer, Harvey Weinstein, or Jeffrey Epstein. Vince will be a joke. He'll be used for humor, and you'll shake your head at the shock value of some jokes about. What did Vince McMahon do? He'll always be associated with this story, especially as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think what Bret's touching on there or alluding to is the fact that, of all the years that Vince has been involved in the business and everything that he's done and everything that he's achieved and how he created WWE into this massive global organization from basically carnival wrestling on the East Coast, if you like, what he will be remembered for is all this stuff that's coming out now. The stuff that's coming out now, the allegations, if proven and everything. But it looks like as more and more wrestlers come out and talk about these situations and they talk about their own experiences with Vince McMahon and stuff like that, it's kind of moving very quickly in people's minds, I would imagine, from allegation to kind of somewhat factual without knowing. And I think that's a big move, and it's something to be highlighted. But it's a very sick situation that's evolving, and the fear is it's going to potentially get sicker and sicker by the looks of things. And we have Bret now talking about it and stuff like that, and just a weird situation that's evolving with this whole thing. And the fear is that more and more people now are going to have the courage to come forward. And I heard Bret also talking as well. I didn't include it in the slide as well, but he talked about it like it was like a Godfather situation, that there was a fear in the company of pushing back against Vince or going against the grain with Vince and stuff like that, which must have been for a lot of people a very horrible work environment and stuff like that, to be going into work in fear of pushing back or questioning anything, or even trying to come up, I can imagine, with, creative ideas that were different to their own ideas and stuff like that and all. So it must have been really tough, even as independent workers working in this environment and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll watch how it goes. But I have to say, the Ashley Mazzaro stuff really hit me hard at the time, when she passed away, and it's hitting me hard even now. Just thinking about what that girl went through and stuff like that, and what she was subjected to, and you know, it's just a very, 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 very horrible, sad situation. Let's take some more of your comments. Where are we? There we go. Acers. Women's mid-card title belts should be called the TKO Raw Championship and SmackDown Championship. I don't think they need two. I think an Intercontinental belt, something that could go across the brands or something like that, I think Brett is a bit of a bandwagoner. Yeah, I think you will get a little bit of that and stuff like that, but I think, if you listen to a lot of the interview and stuff like that and all, that you can feel coming through what I felt anyway. And you know me, how I felt about Brett for a long time and stuff like that and all, but I think there's definitely a compassionate level in there, that's for sure. Daniel, what gets me is so many with the sudden cases of fake outrage going around, acting like they didn't know who Vince was. Mr. McMahon was real. Vince booked terrible things. People kept enabling him. Yeah, I think it was. I think what you're touching on there, Daniel, is really the whole NDA situation, and it calls into question the whole situation that you can do these horrible things by paying off money, you can shut it down and stuff like that and all. And when you're at that level of wealth, it just means that you can continue to do it and do it and do it and do it and not get pulled to task. And sure, who was doing the checks and balances on Vince McMahon, at the time. I'll hop on when ready. Yeah, absolutely. I'll bring you on now. I'll drop a link in there in a second, Ian, for you. At Cheapy Productions podcast, correct. A lot of people outraged, both wrestlers and fans, are people that want to get on the shame distancing bandwagon when it was no secret how Vince is. Well, that's a lot of what's going to come out, isn't it? Because it's a lot of the stuff that's coming out is, it's like the Diaz brothers. I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? So they're not surprised. Now, I'm sure more of this stuff, someone had to be witnessing it. You know what I mean? And people didn't talk. And I think that's going to flush out there at the moment. And that's what the narrative is at the moment surrounding some of the people that are still in there. How much did they know? Why didn't they act on it? How could they act on it? What was the environment? Blah 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 blah. So it's certainly going to be interesting. But the one thing I know with TKO and with Endeavor and stuff like that, they will absolutely push this to the letter of the law, and they will get to the bottom of this, and they will tear out of that place every living situation, root, branch, anything you can think of, detail of anyone that had any involvement, even on the side, or knew about, or didn't come forward. They will be gone. You are going to see a sanitization of this company like we have never felt before. American TV had Mancini on last week for comments made on my show about Vince. Interesting. How did it go, Morris? Let us know how it went. Hop on when you're ready, bro. Yeah, told I'll grab you now in a second. Well, I'll get the link there for you, and then I'll bring you on. That is the link. That's your link, if you're looking for it. Vince better hope the TV companies don't stump up the money to Schultz. Good Lord, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Jake Roberts, even with all his demons, said of Vince, I'm not surprised by any of it, and that bothers me. Yeah. Yeah, look, we've seen the dark side of the rings. We know everything that's surrounded by all this kind of thing and stuff like that, and also, no surprise. Hello, lads. How are you? Porrick, how are you? Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it as always. Any of the sport. Make sure, folks, if you're in the chat as well, that you're liking the other channels that are there, and make sure you're liking and subscribing to the upper tier, and also growing and sharing the content as much as you can. We really appreciate your support on here. Um, he basically said there's worse to come, which I alluded to above. He didn't mention what it was, but let's just say Adam Johnson. Yeah, it's definitely there's definitely I really believe, as bad as what we've seen so far, and the fact that it doesn't shock us. It's just, when you see it visually, it's like when you knew about some of the stuff on Dark Side of the Ring, but then when you actually see it put together in a documentary level, you go, "Oh, good lord," and it's just. I think what we're seeing at the moment, as bad as we've seen so far, is tip of the iceberg stuff. It really is. And it's scary what's going to come out. And I really believe that whole. I think in some respects what Brett has been saying is spot on. I think once this all comes out and stuff like that, this is going to be so sickening. It's going to be such a how it affects the business and everything along. I'm sure TKO are concerned about that as well, because this has to obviously have an effect on the business as well. Something that we all grew up on, something that we've all been fans all of our lives and stuff like that. And for all this stuff to be going on, and where we heard whispers and there was allegations and we had thoughts and all this kind of thing. Now it's becoming very, very real. Um, Acers. I never forgot that Raw when Vince McMahon said to Triple H, "Come on, Jesus, yeah." Like, it's just mad, isn't it? And I mean, that's what we say when you look at a lot of these documentaries of all this sexual assault and all this different stuff that's out there, the Surviving R. Kelly kind of documentaries and all that kind of stuff. They're literally out there playing these characters at times where they're actually telling you in full in full sight, in a roundabout way, what they're up to. You're seeing it with the Jimmy Savile stuff as well. Some of the stuff, when you go back and you look at some of that footage and all, he was literally telling people what he was up to. And yet people just either didn't tweak it or chose to look away, or you know what I mean. And I think this is what's going to evolve in this situation. It's just, Morris, do you have any big superstars coming up? Let them know, Morris, and drop a link into the channel as well there, Morris. The Mazzaro situation was handled, Daniel Lynn, actually, the Mazzaro situation was handled terribly. They kept it under the rug for the sake of protecting the military and keeping WWE from bad PR. Nobody being accountable led to trauma that led to tragedy. Yeah, you're spot on there, Daniel. And look, we think about it like the military at the time, we had the National Guard were a sponsor of the WWE and stuff like that. And we seen the situation that evolved as well when the Miz, when he cut that promo and they cut off the national anthem early, and Finley, of course, got fired over. He was the fall guy for all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And when you think about what had gone on before that and stuff like that, and what was let slide, this Ashley Mazzaro situation, and Finley got fired for putting out something there that's an angle for a guy who was acting heel. Sponsors got up in arms and stuff like that, and all. It's crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Dennis, at Acers, when Vince McMahon went do like after winning the ECW championship, he went there and stunned a lot of superstars, including John Cena. Yeah, it was different stuff, wasn't it? At Acers, he was going to book an angle where he was the father of his own grandchild. Yeah, that stuff. Did you hear that stuff? All that stuff that come out with Steph and all that kind of stuff. It was crazy. Stephanie said no. Then he was going to book Shane as the dad, and Shane refused. Like, how at any point do you come up with this stuff? You know what I mean? It's just crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. And I know Bobby Lashley, when he left as well, there was issues there in the storyline that they wanted to book with his wife Crystal. It was in WWE at the time as well, and that was part of the reason they exited the building as well. Um, Absolutely crazy, crazy stuff. And I remember they wanted to book. Didn't they want to book Paul Burchill? There's a Paul Burchill and his sister, Katie, in an incest storyline at the time as well. It's crazy stuff. Like, you know what I mean? These people ended up having to leave. Absolute madness at the time. What was going through this guy's mind? And you know, the real problem for this is, and I know we've mentioned it before, and I know it's been mentioned on other podcasts as well. But you've got Shane there who has kids, and you've got Steph who has daughters, kids, and like they have to go to school and they're probably in some respects getting ridiculed about this news. Where Vince McMahon may end up being found guilty of these allegations, he may end up going to jail. Who knows what might happen? This could all end up in Epstein fashion. Who knows how it ends and stuff like that. But those kids are still going to have to carry that burden of their grandfather and what he did and stuff like that. And it's going to be so. They're the people that I feel for and stuff like that. It's going to be so tough. Really sad situation. There he is waiting in the background. How are you, my friend? There you are. I just spotted you in the bottom corner. How are you?
All good.
Good. Yeah, I was just saying there. I'm sure you caught it that it's like all this stuff that's coming out with all these allegations and stuff, and it's definitely kind of the tip of the iceberg. But I was saying to our people there, I was saying it's the grandkids that you feel for, so they're going to end up carrying the burden of this throughout their life. And it's so sad, you know what I mean? Where he may end up going off to jail for whatever amount of years. He may end up finishing up like Jeffrey Epstein, where he's found in a cell, maybe, if this is all true, maybe taking the easy way out, if that's even the way to talk about it, you know what I mean? And everyone else is going to be left carrying the can, you know?
Yeah, indeed. Who would have ever thought Vince McMahon, after so many years in the business, we was lifelong fans, and again, who would have ever expected?
I think, do you know what it is? I think we all grew up trusting our fandom to him. We looked to him to be the guy to deliver what we wanted on the screen, what was kind of cool, and the Attitude Era and all that kind of stuff, and WrestleMania 3 and all the different WrestleManias and 6 and all, and all that kind of stuff. And whereas where we kind of say we never could have thought at this level the way these things are coming out and stuff like that, but we kind of had our suspicions in terms of how things were handled back there and how the power being used and all that kind of stuff. But we never thought potentially at this level and this level of disgust, this level of, you know, just horrible victimization and all that kind of stuff and all, you know. There's no other way to put it, you know what I mean? There's a girl out there now. There's a girl out there, Ashley Mazzaro's daughter, who's now lost her mother.
Yeah.
You know, and it's you know, it's potentially because of this whole situation that she wrote in her affidavit. What happened in Kuwait, spurring her into a situation where she was expected to go out there and take bumps and all this kind of stuff when she clearly wasn't ready. You know, and just it's just a horrible situation, and it's saddening and stuff like that. And I get that some people are saying, oh, some of these wrestlers now are coming out more holier than thou and stuff like that. And a lot of them must have known. Some of them left for various reasons, you know what I mean? And, you know, some of the stuff that he was recommending at the time was absolutely crazy. The stuff with being Steph's baby, the father of Steph's baby. Then he wanted Shane to do it. Then the Burchill stuff. Then the Bobby Lashley with his wife Crystal. That kind of, you know, these kind of ideas that they were coming up with. What kind of? I know the wrestling world is kind of strange and it's a circus and it's larger than life and all that kind of stuff. But at what point do you sit around a creative table and that seems like a good idea in any decade? In any decade, you know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy, and it's heartbreaking to think that we've invested so much of our lives. I mean, my business is wrestling. I have a wrestling shop.
Yes,
you know what I mean. I've been selling merchandise there for 20 years, and it's another one of these situations where you feel like that kind of Truman Show situation where you're eventually going to find this door that you open, and you step out through this door and you find that altered world where this stuff didn't go on and that wrestling was cool and, People didn't get hurt and damaged and victimized and all this kind of stuff. So really, really, really tough at times to take that. We've devoted so much of our lives to this, and especially through this man, because he was the guy we looked to, the Austin McMahon stuff, all the stuff that he did over the years, the stuff with DX, all this kind of stuff and all. And he lit up our screens, and he was a big part of the reason why we tuned in. And now looking back on it, it's kind of sickening even to look back on it at times, because you look back at even some of the on-screen stuff, at some of the angles and all this kind of stuff, and you're going, so what was he really thinking then when he came out with that stuff? And how far did he want to push it before people pushed back and said, no, not that level? And even the amount of people that were let go in future endeavor because they pushed back and said, no, we're not going to go that route. How dark did it really go? How dark must have been some of those creative meetings? They must have been crazy, and people shocked at it. Just a second, there, Porrick's in. Why did The Rock want to have a match with his cousin Roman Reigns? That's stupid. I still think they pivoted off this. And Porrick, I would say as well, don't be surprised, that could still happen. I still think we've a few bumps in the road before we get to where we want to get to at WrestleMania. And there's a lot of twists and turns here. And again, I'd say, like I said at the top of the show, Seth Rollins is only out for himself. He's not interested in Cody Rhodes' story. He has a connection there with the Shield. He mentioned he was the architect. He's the architect of setting his situation, how he arrives at the WWE Championship, because the likelihood is he's probably going to drop the World Heavyweight belt at WrestleMania, probably to Drew McIntyre. But again, depending on how the bumps in the roads go and stuff like that and all. But I wouldn't, if I was Cody Rhodes, I wouldn't be buying into that situation with Seth Rollins at all. Any thoughts on that, Ian?
Oh. I was expecting the whole Reigns on Rock to fall through for some reason. I expected that turning point. Cody probably going for the world title, Seth's title.
Yeah, I think in order to finish the story, I think if you're a Cody fan and he's brought you on this journey for this last 2 years or whatever it is, I think the story finishes with Roman and Roman's belt. How we get there, and if it happens at Mania, let's see what happens. But I still think there's a few twists here. They've already pivoted a couple of times in the last 2 weeks. And I think they could pivot a little bit more, and it'll be interesting to see what way it goes. Dennis is in at Porrick. Money Porrick, absolutely. The Rock wanted WrestleMania 40 to make more profits than 39. I think that'll go without saying anyway. It's fabulous stadium, probably sold out already and stuff like that, but it's going to be huge. You can see the difference already. You can see the difference already with The Rock being around. And I say it time and time again on the podcast, all those guys and girls in there are absolutely sensational, and they're operating at a huge level. And if you roll back, say, 4 or 5 months, go back as far as just before Survivor Series and stuff like that, the job that Jey Uso was doing, LA Knight was hot as anything, Cody was brilliant, Seth was brilliant, Roman, when he showed up, was pretty cool and stuff like that as well. But then The Rock arrives, CM Punk arrives, and these are different levels within this company. And we've seen it before when Austin comes back. It's different gravy. We seen Austin at that WrestleMania when he came back with Kevin Owens. I was in that stadium that night. I was in Cowboy Stadium. I was in that AT&T Stadium. It's unbelievable. When Austin came out, it's a different level of noise. It's just different gravy. And you're spot on there, Dennis. Absolutely spot on. Daniel Aporigaburn, disrespect Reigns' self-appointed title of the tribal chief, and Rock is the one who set the table for him to be the head of. It was interesting as well. I was listening today in when they went through at the press conference. If you've seen the slide of all the family that he put up on the screen, he was referring to himself, and I think it's the first time. And I think Eric mentioned it on his podcast. I think when he was on with Conrad, Eric Bischoff. But it's the first time Rock has referred to himself as the High Chief. He was on it as
That's
the High Chief, which was interesting. So they're putting out little hints and little things here at the
so
moment. It's like Rollins talking about having Cody's back, but yet he talks about being in the Shield. He talks about being the architect, and he even, you can even allude to his time when he aligned himself with Steph and with Triple H and stuff like that. So we know this guy has that turning point in him and stuff like that down throughout his career and stuff like that. So Cody, be aware. Do not trust this guy.
I'm
Morris is
jealous.
in. Duke the Dumpster just announced uh,
Jeez.
notable names waiting on a few big ones to say yes. Ernest the Cat Miller gave a great interview yesterday. Yeah, check out Morris's shows, folks. Him and Jack over there and Mario. I think Mario's on once a month or a fortnight for his show and stuff like that. Great stuff out there at the moment that Morris is doing. So be all over it and support it, folks, and make sure you're subscribing.
He's the
Acers,
garbage boy.
Vince
Dude,
McMahon is Bill Cosby pure evil. Yeah, I think when we talk about Jimmy Savile and we talk about Bill Cosby and we talk about Epstein
he's
and
there.
Jeffrey
He's up there.
Dahmer and all these guys, this could end up being different gravy. This could end up being gravy, and no disrespect to the victims of those guys and stuff like that. But this could be just crazy. But yeah, good stuff, Acers. But do you think the Rock should take a break? I think what's going to happen here is I think they're going to shoot some videos of The Rock in, the way they used to do Vince in the offices and stuff like that and all, and they'll be pre-recorded, so everyone will think The Rock is there in the building, but he won't actually be in the building and stuff like that. And I think that's going to be very interesting as well. But I'm really interested to see how this situation with Roman Reigns evolves at the moment, because Roman Reigns seems to have nearly taken his spot with Solo and Jimmy, and then you have The Rock here. Because when the family was disrespected, it was The Rock that stepped up to Cody. It was Roman that was in the background. So it'll be interesting to see how it all evolves and stuff like that. But it could be interesting. Unfortunately, show business is very gritty. It certainly is. Certainly is. Wrestling can be a seedy business of carnies with low morals. Carlito's dad helped cover up Bruiser Brody's stabbing. Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff, Daniel. Appreciate this. Yeah, it gets a Hall of Fame induction. Then there's the Jimmy Snuka situation. There's so much stuff to come out. It's crazy. It's crazy. And every time you push that shovel into the ground and you dig a sod out, you just uncover a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Madness. Good shout, Daniel. Yeah, Dusty was the NWA champion, but never won the WWF title, which Cody flat out said was the belt he wanted when the first cut the story promo. That's Roman's title. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if it ends up being if it ended up being the world heavyweight with Seth Rollins, I think the fans are crap all over, to use not a decent analogy these days with what's come out. Do you think Ray could have a match at Mania? Not too sure. Not too sure, to be honest. Now Mania is a big card and stuff like that. And really, what do we really know about Mania at this stage? If you think about it, we're what are we, 6 weeks away from Mania or so, 7 weeks away from Mania, and there's lots to be decided. Lots to be decided. Hopefully the chamber will put a different slant on it and give us better ideas. Acers, WWE has Madison Square Garden event booked for September, October. Cody Rhodes win the WWE Championship would make more sense as Dusty Rhodes had the WWF title taken away in the same venue. It would make a lot of sense. I just wonder, are they testing the resolve of the Cody Rhodes fans? How leveled up would the crybabies get? And can you imagine the noise in that Philadelphia stadium and the Eagle Stadium? Can you imagine the noise in that if Roman was to pick up the win, or someone else if they're injected into the match and it's not it's not Cody? Will the fans understand that this is the pathway that they're going? The other thing that ties in with Acers, and you've spoke about it before, he breaks Hulk Hogan's record if he keeps it till then. And I wonder how much is that on the agenda from a politic and point of view and everything else. Now, he doesn't break the record, but he breaks Hogan's record. And that's significant even in the modern age of wrestling. How old is The Rock? He must be late 40s anyway. Is he mid to late 40s? He has to be, doesn't he? I would imagine. In his 50s. but he's been juicing a lot to get in the ring shape. Yeah, they were talking about that today, Daniel, as well, and there was talk that the shape that he's in at the moment is not necessarily ring shape. That he could run out and blow up like the Warrior. This could happen as well. So who knows? You know what I mean? I think if Rock, I think if Rock is in a Mania match, whatever it is, if it's Roman or Seth or whatever way it's going to pan out, or even they were saying that actually the tag match would be ideal because someone could go in and do a lot of the work and he could sit on the apron and just work the crowd. But I think you will get a lot of crowd psychology and stuff like that, like Hogan Rock at 18. You might not get as much action as you would expect, but let's see. But certainly, yeah, be interesting. When did The Rock appear? When did The Rock appear in WWE?
Survivor 1996.
Rocky Maivia. Remember? Rocky Maivia. Had quite a bad day at work experience today. What happened, Jack? Let us know what happened. I will tell you what went on Twitter. Absolutely. DM me on Twitter, Jack, and let me know. Be interesting to see what happened. Because you were impressed. It was going well. It was all good. So let us know what happened.
That's well.
Big up, mate. How's your work? There you go. Morrison, last time I checked, the fans don't write the show. Goldust brother and his chucks are a joke. Listen, it was made very clear that dynamic with Rock and Triple H is going to be interesting as well. We know there's a lot of unfinished stuff there as well. Unfortunately, Triple H can't get back in the ring and stuff like that. But that stuff backstage as well, as contrived as it is and stuff like that, you still feel there's a little bit of sort of unfinished needle in that as well and stuff like that. And you've seen The Rock standing there and like Triple H looked tiny beside him. Tiny. Triple H used to be a big dude, but obviously for obvious health reasons and stuff like that. But The Rock looks like a monster. Looks like a monster beside him. What year did The Rock appear in WWF? What did you say? Was it
1996 Survivor Series?
96.
96.
Yeah. Interesting. It's mad how long that's been, isn't it, when you think about it? It's crazy. I would say I'm waiting for the Hulk Hogan is all elite banner, but Tony briefly banned him for life. Only Tony can lift that ban, Daniel. Only Tony can lift that ban. Can you imagine? Good Lord. The Rock first appeared in 96, I believe it was. That Survivor Series. There you go. Then it's spot on, Spot on. Wow. There you go. At Dennis, yeah, when he came out of Rocky Maivia and the crowd hated behind him, then he joined the Nation of Domination. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, spot on from Dennis as well, and Porrick. But how was he so cheeky to the crowd in 1996? He was just like he reminded me of Terry Taylor as the Red Rooster. He was just this goofy kind of stupid kind of character that kind of piddle people off and stuff like that. You know that guy that kind of when you're in school and he annoys. Yeah, he just annoys you. You can't put your finger on why he annoys you, but you just turn around and you go, that guy is so annoying. You mightn't even know him, stuff like that. But you see the way the Rock used to come out and he was all smarmy and stuff like that as Rocky Maivia, and you just wanted to slap the chops off him.
USWA. Do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
Memphis.
Big up Acers. Thanks for the heads up on that. Don't forget, folks, obviously meant to say, but you'd see it on the if you have the subscribe and bell notification hit show next Tuesday, because we have the Liverpool game to cover on the Wednesday. Big up Acers, great shout on that. Absolutely not. I've seen people post stream saying potential matches between Rock and Triple H. I'm like, are you insane? Levesque has a defibrillator inside his chest. Absolutely, and stuff like that. And this is the level of excitement that they have brought and stuff like that. No, the one thing I would say is I'd say they're probably okay to kind of not have a match, but probably get into it more. And I think what you're going to have as well is you're going to have this power play going on. There's so many levels to all the stuff they're doing now. You're going to have this power play within the bloodline between The Rock and Roman Reigns. You're going to have this power play going on between The Rock and Triple H and stuff like that. And it's going to be really, really interesting. But yeah, spot on, Daniel. Yeah, We don't want that happening in the ring. Good Lord, I mean, these guys sometimes need to be advised. Are you what? Yeah, absolutely. Terry Taylor was great in NWA as the TV champion, and WWF as the Red Rooster, not so much yet. And that's what I mean. That Red Rooster gimmick, kind of an association, of course, with Bobby as well, meant that people just hated him and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely. In the NWA, it's amazing how that all evolves and stuff like that, isn't it? Ireland scored 36 points against Italy in Dublin and 38 points against France. How many points do you think Ireland will score against Wales in Dublin? I don't know whether it'll be that high or not. Don't know whether it'll be that high or not, but I haven't really been following the rugby at all. I just haven't had a minute. We could see Triple H referee a rock match, high emotions like Sean and Taker. Yeah, that could happen all right. And not only referee it, but get into it with the Rock. He'd be able to take a little bit, wouldn't he? Just DM you, Niall, mate. Perfect. I'll catch up with you just after the show, Jack, when I get a chance. Interesting to see what happened there, pal. But hope it's all good. Right, let's get into a bit of history. The week in history, as we always do. We got some stuff related to the chamber, and we got a couple of wrestlers who passed away. Some highlights, and then we have some interesting notable birthdays. Acers, Flair looking for one more match, Rock available. Flair, Jesus Christ, seriously. It's just, how many last match figures can I buy related to Ric Flair? Just stop this now.
Too much stress.
And I tell you, if they push the button on that in AEW and that happens, that's the end. That's the end. Can't be dealing with that. It's in Perth, Porrick. The Elimination Chamber is in Perth, Australia, 10 a.m. our time. So you'll be able to sit back, have a nice fried breakfast, and watch the Elimination Chamber. Now midnight till 4 in the morning or whatever it is. Just a question for Niall. Are you going to For the Love of Wrestling convention in Manchester on the first weekend in March? I'm not, Dennis. I'm not heading to it. It is a convention that I do want to get to. But I won't be doing it this year, unfortunately. But I would love to go. I heard they're absolutely excellent. And they've done so much work there. It's a big show, big event. Dave Cullen's involved, and a good friend of mine and stuff like that. And all. He does a lot of the social work for it and stuff like that. And we've had James on as well. James Harvey, I think is his name, who comes on. He's been on the show, has a massive collection of wrestling stuff and stuff like that. Great guy. James is involved as well. So hats off to them. At Chibi Productions podcast, or Rock as a special ref in Cody versus Reigns. Rock hits Roman with the rock bottom. Cody hits a crossroads. It protects Reigns and sets up Rock versus Roman without the title. Interesting. I think the only thing I think about this is I think if Cody wants to finish the story and win the belt, I kind of feel he has to kind of find a way to pin Roman clean, doesn't he? Because if there's any question about the win in any way, it doesn't really finish the story, does it? In the way that people want it to. I don't think AEW will sell as many Wembley tickets this year. Yeah, I was shocked to hear the other day, Morris, actually, at how many are gone and stuff like that as well. So interesting. Know a couple of people going. Sure, Elimination Chamber ends at 2 p.m. before United versus Fulham 3 p.m. kickoff. Then Arsenal Newcastle 8 p.m. Yeah, we got a full day ahead of us, Acers. It should be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, not that bleep. Yeah, absolutely. And we saying some of the TikToks were electric as well. Right, let's get into history. Let's push through this history. So, the
never-ending story with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he wants to end the story. It's a never-ending.
That's it. It's got to end somewhere, though. It's got to end somewhere. Let's get into history so you guys and gals, if you're tuning in, you can enjoy the rest of your Valentine's. So we start off 1985, all the way back 1985. Jimmy Hart made his WWF debut at a TV taping where he acted as manager for Greg the Hammer Valentine and separately Jim the Anvil Neidhart. 1985, Jimmy Hart debuted. 2017, this is one that's going to hit hard. 2017, and if you get a chance, go back and look at it again, out of respect. Bray Wyatt won his first WWE Championship in the main event of the Elimination Chamber from Phoenix, Arizona, 2017. Well worth having a look back on, out of respect. 2019, Pedro Morales passed away, age 76, in Perth Amboy in New Jersey. Pedro Morales, R.I.P. 1997, Shawn Michaels forfeited the WWF Championship and cut his infamous Lost My Smile promo on Thursday Raw, Thursday from Lowell, Massachusetts.
He lost his smile.
Lost his smile. There you go.
Then he became a degenerate.
Absolutely.
That didn't take long.
He got it back pretty quick, didn't he? 2017, Bayley defeated Charlotte Flair for the WWE Raw Women's title in the main event of WWE Raw from Paradise in Nevada. 2011, folks. 13 years ago. The Rock appeared as a surprise guest on Monday Night Raw to announce that he would serve as the guest host of WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 29, we're about to stare into 40. 2004. I always pick a moment in these as well. How could we dare forget? And with the information that's come out recently, it makes this even sweeter, doesn't it? 2004, Eddie Guerrero defeated Brock Lesnar in an upset victory for the WWE Championship at WWE No Way Out at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. R.I.P. Eddie Guerrero. I remember that night like it was yesterday. And what's come out, recent allegations and stuff like that, it makes it even more fitting, doesn't it? Hats off to Eddie Guerrero. There we go. 2009, Edge lost the WWE Championship in the first of two Elimination Chamber matches at No Way Out in Seattle, Washington. He would then attack Kofi Kingston. Remember the attack on Kofi Kingston during his entrance and take Kingston's place in the World Heavyweight Championship Chamber match to win the title. Scandalous what happened to Kofi that night. Scandalous. 2017, WWE Hall of Famer George the Animal Steele passed away age 79 in Cocoa Beach, Florida. R.I.P. George the Animal Steele. Have a turnbuckle around somewhere signed by him. 1996, this one was especially for Sean. Raven retained the ECW World Heavyweight title against the Sandman in the main event of ECW Cyber Slam 96 from, of course, Philadelphia. Where else?
I remember.
Yeah. 2007, Mike Awesome sadly passed away at the age of 42 in Tampa, Florida. In 2013, The Rock retained the WWE Championship against CM Punk in the main event of WWE Elimination Chamber in New Orleans. So we have a nice chamber kind of mix there, plus kind of, other stuff mixed in there, debuts, title wins, all that kind of stuff. So it was an interesting week this week in terms of history, as it always is, stuff that crops up and stuff like that. Sadly, each week we kind of lose a few wrestlers as well. I'll take a few comments before we get into the notable birthdays. Aces is in. Hell in a Cell, Roman versus Cody. Dennis is in. If we have a remake of the Neverending Story movie based on Cody Rhodes, let's pick Richie as the director of the movie. There you go. All in there. There you go. They want you to direct. Have you got the C? Have you got the clip, the clapper board, the whole lot ready? Daniel's in. You ever seen Police Academy? Yeah. You ever seen Police Academy when they crazy glue Captain Harris's megaphone to his lips? There were times I wanted that to happen to Jimmy.
And the story.
They actually, Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong. They didn't glue the megaphone to his lips. They put the brown stuff on him when he took it away. Remember, he had the brown all around his lips. The glue was the other guy, wasn't it, when he was in the shower and he was washing his hair with the glue and they had to cut his hands out of his hair. As far as I know now, correct me if I'm right or wrong. I was a big Police Academy fan, but I think the one where Harris with the megaphone was the one where they put the brown all around it. Remember when he took it away, his brown all around his lips? It was crazy. That was Police Academy. Shout out to Dazzler. Actually, Dazzler wasn't too well last week, and he watched all the Police Academies. At Dennis does he ride the dog Pharaoh out to the ring like a lucky dragon? Absolutely. Some of the stuff that's coming out was class. Shawn Michaels told Vince McMahon that he wasn't losing to Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. So that's why we got lost my smile knee injury angle. Absolutely. Dennis, we'll ask Richie whether he wants to do it or not. Yonfer, you're going to direct this never-ending story with Cody Rhodes, are you?
I'll give it some thought.
At Acers. Michaels refused to drop it to Austin at first, but Undertaker said if he didn't do the job for him, he'd be waiting backstage in Gorilla when the match was over. Oh my God, really unreal. Poor again, the Rock slapping Cody Rhodes and swears to it. Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable. Right, let's give you some notable birthdays and then you can head off and enjoy the rest of your Valentine's. It's been a great show, folks. Thank you to everyone in the chat. All you guys in there, Porrick, Daniel, Dennis, Aces, everyone who's in there. Sean, Morris, everyone. Make sure anyone who's in there that has channels as well, folks, head over and support those channels as always. Let's build this community here that we're building. Notable birthdays. I have 4 notable birthdays for you. 4 very interesting characters, to say the least. One that I was a big fan of, 1960. I met him 2 years ago. Akeem, the one-man gang, celebrates his birthday this week. What a man he was. 1972, a man who shares the same year as myself, Nelson Mabel Fraser. His birthday is this week as well, 1972. 1971, a man who's a year older than me, Tommy Dreamer, celebrates his birthday this week. And we rounded out with 1969, a man who I got to meet, who I had in my shop for a signing. Was an absolute gentleman on the day, and quite the opposite of what I was expecting. But one Gangrel celebrates his birthday this week as well. They're the only 4 birthdays I have for you this week. Quiet week for birthdays on the birthday front. No doubt next week we'll probably have loads. But until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video, and we will be back. I'll be back tomorrow night with Dazzler. We'll be doing Thursday Tier Talk. We'll be previewing all the Premier League action. Big thank you to Ian, who jumped on as well to share his thoughts on some of this stuff as well. Always welcome, my friend. But until next time, folks, have a safe Valentine's. If you're sharing it with someone, enjoy. If you're not sharing it with someone and you're just celebrating yourself, then spoil yourself. Nothing wrong with spoiling yourself if that's what you want to do. We will be back tomorrow night with the football show as always. Big up, Dennis. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Niall. Enjoy Valentine's. Absolutely. And Daz, see you tomorrow, Niall. Definitely will, Daz. No doubt about it. One thing you can always bank on, when we're supposed to be here, we will be here. There's no doubt about it as everything unfolds. But until next time, folks, an absolute pleasure. Cheers, Eno.
We are over and out.